All right, let's get back to work to restoring humanity, to barbarmanity. I don't know. All right, so here we go. So, um, let's start out. Let's explain the Sura of divorce to Muslims. Sura of divorce. Life's eternal, grace is infinite. Right, right. You're a Muslim, you know that, right? Life's eternal, grace is infinite. That's what the Messiah believes. It's what he shares with everybody to to help people protect themselves from lie. He's the way, the truth, and the life. So when people take the truth of our life and corrupt it with mythology and tribalism and fantasy and egotistical expression, the Messiah steps up, through eternal faithful prayer and says, no, Captain Crunch, Colonel Sanders, Ronald McDonald, Scrooge McDuck, you're wrong, right? So money is a human invention made for hypocrites to manipulate heathens, so heathens can become hypocrites and feel powerful, right? And everybody, if you read the Bible, you read the Quran, if you can actually go to a building for people that don't read too good, you can read it and go, oh, this is obvious. It's like crime scene investigation, cold case, so on, so forth. Doink, doink, right? So Matlock could figure it out. I don't think so. I think she's got too much money. Oh, I get it. Yeah. The money, if they got lots of money, they got no idea what's whack and what's dope. Yeah, okay. So, but with the Sura divorce, like there's a woman alive today that, that would be watching this. Like, you ever seen that movie Truman Show? People with Jim Carrey, and he's in this dome and his life is a big money-making projection joke. He's in this dome and he has this sheltered life that it's a lot like making a movie about Siddhartha. You guys know who Siddhartha is? The Buddha, where his dad was a mythological manipulating people with mythology and oppression and violence, and his son is supposed to be the one like the Krishna. And he takes the boy and he puts him in this mythological made city, into Oz. And one of the servants takes the boy who's like the Krishna out of the city and says, here's the kingdom of your father, where all these poor people are out in the street dying from neglect and abuse through competition. And so, and Siddhartha has an arranged marriage to a bitch inside the city who's like Truman Show, right? And he leaves. And when you think about it, you sit there and go, that's horrible. He had a wife and kids. Well, his kids are like the grandpa and the mom, and won't go out out of the Emerald City and out into the world that has to pay for the Emerald City's perfect world, opulence, and he doesn't go back because he doesn't want to go back to that. He doesn't go back where the people have these wonderful, Santa Barbara, Park City, Utah, Jackson Hole, Wyoming lives. He goes to, El Paso or Denver and Chicago, and he stays there. But he doesn't. He goes out in the wilderness, right? Because when he goes to like Mumbai and Delhi and all that, the people there are just as bad, okay, as the people if not, in some ways they're worse because they're more vicious. Okay. The people in Santa Barbara are cold and insidious murderers to have this better quality of life. And the people in Inglewood and Compton and East LA will do anything to get out, right? They'll go to school, they'll do as they're told, they'll tell the professor what they need to hear to get to Santa Barbara, right? To get to Jackson Hole, to be able to afford to live in Jackson Hole, to be able to live in San Francisco instead of Oakland, right? And so, in the Sura of divorce, life's eternal and grace is infinite. Okay. And you have people in San Francisco that say they're trying to save all the people in Oakland. with money. Right. And money's going to save us from people with money that kill people over money and manipulate people over money. So money's going to save heathens from hypocrites. All right. Did you guys understand the Sura of divorce better now? Life's eternal and grace is infinite. All right. So you see why Siddhartha left his wife and kids in Santa Barbara to go try to help all the people in El Paso, and then all the people in El Paso, like the people did with Jesus, go to hell. We don't want the people in Santa Barbara to organize with their military mass murder us all. Oh. But you're all mass murdering each other to live in Santa Barbara. Oh. So he goes out into the woods and he meditates and he asks for help for the faithful who are eternally faithful, which are a little bitty part of us, little bitty. Small percentage of the population. Minute percentage of the population. Okay. They're the people that all your books about religion are based on. You know, they're very few, and their lives are in these books of, quote, prophecy, and their lives are prophetic, right? Because they're faithful and they're truthful and they're the sources of faithful love through truth, through, being truthful people. So they're very rare. So I understand what a rare human being I am, and I understand why I'm not making $1,200 a month on YouTube. So, and I'm all right with that because I'm the living embodiment of the Lord's Prayer. We, live when my life corrects scientific study and abuse because they're insane, right? Then we all live the faith of Psalms and the wisdom of Proverbs worldwide. So I'm okay with the fact that right now, that right now I'm like, oh, this sucks so bad, and the 3 teeth, it's like, yeah, I knew they can do cosmetic surgery to put teeth in to help you eat better. I get all that, and the nerve damage on my shins and the nerve damage on, my body's really exceptional, and I've done it once before and I can do it again. Where I helped restore the circulation and increase the circulation. I've done it more than once before with my genitalia. It happened back in the service too, when they put crap in your food, and they do horrible things to people. People in the military, if the people in the military knew how much the scientists, well, they do, because they had that one guy who was a sniper and threw back his medal when he came back and said, and they had the other guy saying, they were putting this crap in the showers during Desert Storm stuff in the Marines showers to see whose DNA could assimilate to it so they could sell it to rich people. So they know, because there's nothing new under the sun that they don't know, right? You don't know. And I think all the guys and girls involved are just gambling that they'll be one of those Nathan Bedford Forrest people that, you have the Will Smith DNA from the I Am Legend. So thousands of years of survivalism. I'm not a survivalist. The reason why I have such amazing DNA is what they all came and attacked me with and told me with in Sierra Vista. You're just basically a puppet. You're a puppet master and all this stuff, and all the people, all the losers send you their prayers, so you channel their chi and their ki to have a better immune system, to be more intelligent, to be stronger, to be better, to be wiser, to be just a better person, right? And how come all you guys covet to be like me, and I'm not coveting to be like you? I don't want to be like Donald Trump, but Donald Trump wants to be like me. Dave Miscavige, L. Ron Hubbard want to be like me, but I don't want to be like them. Tom Cruise also, because he's like them, wants to be like me, but I don't want to be like him. So, don't you think, yeah, you should also see the fundamental story of the Sura of divorce is, like, okay, he's the one like Siddhartha, he's the one like Krishna and Buddha and the Christ and the Rose of Mecca, and he's the line of the uncle of the man like Muhammad and Abraham. Yeah, we get that, okay, because and we already know that too about with the Mormon Church. They spy in my house, they sexually groom and abuse my family. You know, when you sit and watch, okay, you have a virtual, just having a virtual presence, just having the CIA presence, like, this guy's like Monk compared to King, just by having that in someone's house in the interest of national security to manipulate people with philanthropy, okay, is like, is just a horrible, disgusting, terrible sin, right? The fact that my sisters didn't have any privacy, and my wives, and, didn't have any privacy during adolescence, didn't have any, and I've told kids about that too. I mean, you guys, everybody's that way now. The only ones that have quote unquote privacy are the ones they're not interested in because they can't influence anybody or they just don't care. And those people are upset because nobody's watching. How come no one's watching my sex life? Would you want to watch your sex life? You're an asshole. All of us that are getting our sex life studied like a lab rat want to be you. Okay? I don't want anybody watching my sex life. Okay? I want privacy, right? And then when I say something like that, you tell me I'm an asshole. Do you want to be Lady Gaga? Do you want to be Jennifer Lopez in U-Turn? What the hell's wrong with you? Okay. So you want everybody to pay you millions of dollars to have Sean Penn fuck you. Okay. But then when you're fucking Ben Affleck, you don't want anybody else to watch. But you want him to watch, you want everybody to watch and pay you $1 million to watch him kiss your ass on a yacht, right? You understand the Sura divorce better now? Okay, do you understand? I can't be any more intelligent than I am. Hell, Neil deGrasse Tyson and the 2025 Nobel Prize winner could figure out what I'm fucking talking about. You sure? I think so. I hope so. What about Chuck? I don't know about Chuck. Maybe Chuck. Actually, I think Chuck understands it better than they do and is explaining it to them. You hear what he's saying? Yeah, okay. Are you sure? I'm not sure if I follow it. Well, what he's saying here is that, okay, that life's eternal and grace is infinite, and this is what happens to people when they accept hell over heaven. And when they accept heaven over hell, they get stuck in hell by all the people that accept hell over heaven. Are you getting it now? Okay. No, you don't need $1 million or a Nobel Prize. You just need to believe in living the ways of the kingdom of heaven so you don't get stuck in hell hoping to get $1 million for a prize to be an asshole. Okay, do you get it? Okay, wow. What am I doing in Santa Barbara? I think I'm going to get arrested, right? So do you understand this? Hey, go Gauchos. Santa Barbara, there's lots of places in the world like Santa Barbara. There's Scottsdale, Arizona. There's Taos, New Mexico. There's lots of places where the rich have completely taken over. And the poor people live like in a, in one of the side house servant things that, where they're sexually exploited by Steven Seagal and his wife. So there's lots of places like that in the world. Okay. They're in little isolated pockets with the best police force in the history of Billy and Taggart in the whole world, right? And don't forget Ron, what was his name? The guy who gets killed in Deliverance. Right? I forget his name, but yeah. So fuck, I'm tired. Tired. This is I live in collectively one of the worst community in the history of the world right now. I want to say one of the worst because, this is, it doesn't matter what Huachuca's doing. The people at White Sands could all get up and say, no, he's right. We're wrong. You guys suck. We're going to do everything we can to make sure that he starts spreading globally. And they can circumvent Huachuca. Yeah, they can. Yeah, they can. No, there's ways to do it. There's ways to just locally spread things, and then Huachuca tries to run ahead of it, and Huachuca can't keep ahead of it because we got quantum computing. So yeah, no, it's just basically they're just addicts. And they probably ain't going to stop, but they are going to be stopped. That's what all the stories say. And the one who stops them, I love you. I know you want to love me, and you're trying. You're not trying. No. If you were trying, what I just said would be happening. But so you're not trying. No, you have a cartoon character that you think is better than me that you've invented over probably 100,000 years or more. Okay. And that cartoon character is always going to be better than me because for 100,000 years, I've always been better than you. And the Messiah can't pay for your sins, but he can save you from your sins. And he could do it all by myself. Quantum computing. And, I think they had to invent quantum computing for me to save all the sinners from their sin because they refused to save themselves from the sin. So that makes sense too, right? So you're like, okay. I get it. I hate it, but they explained it to me yesterday when I was checking the mail. It's like, Earl, what? I was like, okay, guys. Well, stay, survive, stop, eliminate, abuse, recover. Right? Okay. Well, keep doing that. Do that. You're depressed because of what's happening with family and Amy and Kate and all that stuff. But you got to understand, if they were capable of saving themselves from their own sin, they'd be, with Noah's money from those 2 accidents, be living here with you and your dad right now, and then trying to find a way to get, out of town to a place in the Gila. That was one of the nice things about watching Western New Mexico. They had the Gila Medical Register. One of the neat things about that kind of community is there was hardly any cars in the parking lot at the medical center. The parking lot where Dad goes is always full. The parking lot at Mountain View and all that, they're always full. Okay, Gila Regional Medical Center. So there's 3 cars in the lot. You're like, that's nice. They have a much better environment to live in. That means that the cancer is less spread, and so that's good for all the kids that are going and playing basketball up there. Hey, that's a good recruiting selling point, right? Okay, you come here, and it's not like Dallas where the medical center for cancer is like. So Dallas Baptist and Lubbock Baptist, you're screwed. But Western New Mexico and Sul Ross, hey, you get all the pollution. You're not as in quite of an intense, and the weather because of the mountains and everything like that. You watch it in Culberson County and all that stuff and things in those areas. They get a lot more rain to wash the stuff out and get, if you had a choice to go to school at Alpine or Silver over Dallas or Lubbock, and, Canyon, they're in close proximity to Amarillo, which is also, big concrete slave ship killing field. So, they all are. And so, Cannon and Clovis are a little further, away, but the better, the less populous the area, the better. It's just, no, this is just natural. They may concentrate stuff on that. Yeah, but the better nature has a way of helping your body. Nature is amazing. Okay? Nature's amazing. The way it survives us and it survives all and will survive all the people that are killing people with technology and think they are using nature to do it, COVID-19. So they, nature's absolutely amazing because it's a gift from God for us to live our lives, and it's not a tool from turd bags to, I can get this to react to kill you. Yeah, we can't get people to do anything they don't want to do, and you can program it like you're programming a video game. So you can do that with the trees too, but the trees and rocks could talk. They would say it too. You're a murdering hypocrite bastard with a bunch of heathens that want to replace you at every turn. Yeah, and how do you sleep at night? I get a boxable and I move it from place to place, and then I get washing machine satellites to follow me around, and then I want to build robots for everybody, and I think if everybody has one of my robots that I can use to kill them in their sleep, but they don't obey me, we'll have world peace. How long Elon Musk of you? Okay, also sounds a lot like Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Yeah. Well, why didn't Joe Biden tell us this? Okay, and Pope Leo. Or the president of the Mormon Church, right? Or Tom Cruise, right? So, here we go. Here we go. So, no, I don't expect this to get 400,000 views and start being able to help my dad, quote, financially with this YouTube channel. No, not at all. Well, because the military is the fence to genocide. And I live in military headquarters of the most genocidal military and the incorporated genocidal military in the history of the world. We know that's in the Bible, right? It says so in the book of Revelation. And so, I'm Silas, and they're Frank fence post, where I live, where the hawk and those, I'm his neighbor. Okay. I'm Silas, and they're Frank fence post. Dance me outside. Oh, son of a bitch, we suck again. I am not going to Montreal to learn how to be a car mechanic. I am not old easy reader from the bucket list. Fuck you. You and the horsemen and whatever, sawed off. And so, but how you look at the fence is how you make your money. Okay, do you understand? Now you deal with the fence. And me, I don't make money. Well, I'm like Silas's ancestors, okay? And Frank Fencepost. Think they're thinking? What do you think they're thinking? You think they're thinking? What do you think they're thinking? I don't think they're thinking. I think they're told what to think, and then they think what they're told. Well, I'm Silas. I'm Frank Fencepost's neighbor. I'm Silas. Okay?